Hello, welcome to TisTalk.
TisTalk is a community podcast from Tisbury, Wiltshire and surrounding villages. So, it's Monday the 4th of May, and I'm with Anne Martin. Thanks very much for coming over to the Warder studios of TisTalk, Anne.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Mary. Always a pleasure to be here.
So now everybody knows you. You are very active in the village. You need no introduction. So what have you got for us this week in terms of local and national news?
Right, well, my local news is quite local. It's Poole Harbour. And for the third year running, ospreys are actually laying eggs and young ospreys are fledging in Poole Harbour. And this hasn't happened for 150 years. And so when it first happened 3 years ago, they thought, well, maybe this is just a one-off. But they've come back twice and now a third time. And at the moment, there are 4 eggs in the nest. Obviously, it's a guarded secret about where these eggs actually are. But it's a wonderful good news story for our environment, because we hear so much about our rivers being polluted and bad stories. But this is something really good, that the ospreys come back every year from Africa to Poole Harbour.
Fantastic.
So that's my local news.
Lovely.
My international news comes as no surprise. It's about Japan.
All right.
Where I'm going back to soon, where they are trialling robots as ground handlers in the airport in Tokyo. The Japanese are actually short of labour, and so they've decided to use these robots, and at the moment they're unloading crates and so on, but in the future they may use them to clean cabins and to even maybe do check-in of luggage. So I'm flying into this airport, Haneda Airport in Japan, so I'm quite looking forward to maybe seeing the robots there.
Oh, well, yeah, so they're there right now.
Apparently so,
already?
According to BBC News,
Oh,
yes.
okay, and when are you off to Japan?
At the end of May.
Lovely.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
We have a very varied show for you today. And today's lineup starts with Dawn Briant, who was the first editor of Focus in 1976.
Well, I feel very proud and very happy that I'm still around to be able to share this occasion and to celebrate the 50 years of Focus.
And still on Focus, we have a little bit of you, Anne, talking about what it's like now to produce the magazine.
Yes, it's quite different.
Yes. Also on the show, we have Sean Moran talking about Lowry and his lecture that's coming up on the 13th of May.
The reason he's very popular with people is because everybody has been in a Lowry painting. So if you worked in London and you had to cross London Bridge to get the train home, and you're crossing that bridge, it's a Lowry painting.
After that, we have Steve Tonkin on May's night skies and what to look for in terms of the stars.
We've got 2 full moons in May, on the first day, and 31st, the last day. And these are what we call micro moons.
Then we're back on the high street with Martin Thomas, solicitor, and he's answering another legal question, this time on property, and the question is about gazumping.
The higher bidder is gazumping, the lower one, or rather the seller is allowing him to gazump, him or her. It's legal, that doesn't mean it's right.
And following on, we have the What's On with Christabel Watts, followed by a short item about the clock tower on St John's Church.
And we play out after the What's Ons with 2 lovely children, Vivien and Finn, who Anne recorded at the Methodist Church Family Friday party.
This is TisTalk from Tisbury, Wiltshire.
First up, Dawn Briant talks to Mary at the tea party to celebrate 50 years of Focus. Dawn Briant was the first editor of Focus back in 1976.
Thank you very, very much for coming on TisTalk, Dawn. I'm with you here just outside the celebrations that have been happening today for Focus's 50th anniversary. So, Dawn Briant, you started Focus. Tell us why and when.
Well, I was kind of manoeuvred into being the first editor of Focus. My father, who lived in the village, had had a very successful school magazine, and he was Richard Herford's first choice. Richard visited my father, and he kind of didn't really want the work, so he suggested that I might be a good candidate. I was living in the village and I didn't have a full-time teaching post, so I had too much time on my hands, basically, and he thought I would need something to do. It would be a very good thing for me to do. Yeah.
So who was Richard Herford?
Richard Herford was the vicar at the time. He was young, very keen, very, very much community-minded, and he was looking to start a magazine that would be a community magazine rather than a church magazine. And he needed somebody to help.
Were you born and bred in Tisbury?
I came from Hindon, which isn't very far away.
Miles.
And we were in Tisbury then because we'd bought a building plot. So yes, we were building a house in Court Street. I thought, well, yeah, I'll do it. And we started it together. And it's absolutely amazing that 50 years later, I'm still here to celebrate the magazine, which is wonderful now because it's so much a community magazine, which I'm sure Richard would be delighted with. And having met so many of the people here today, I can't tell you how happy I am that it's in such good hands. The whole thing is just wonderful. I just didn't know where to go. It was just amazing. There were 40 organisations, the schools, the churches, all of the churches. Yeah. And I got copied from everybody, and it was a nightmare, really, trying to sort out what went in and whether the balance was right and whether I was being fair and, you know, and yes, it was quite a job. And I was talking to the editor here today, and she said it's just the same now. Yes, there's plenty of copy.
So how long were you the editor for?
That's a good question. I think probably...
You started in 76.
5 or 6 years.
Right.
Yes, somebody else very happily took it on when I got a full-time teaching post.
Right. Where were you teaching?
In Shaftesbury. The little one, straight from Mum. Yeah, it was lovely.
Yes.
But it was quite tiring because I had 2 young sons of my own and we were building the house and there was a lot going on. My mum was very ill and I was torn in many directions at the time, so... It was quite an optimum moment to hand it on to somebody else.
Yes, sure.
Yes, but I'm very proud that it still reflects the original concept of being a community-led magazine. It was very much different from nowadays with the digital age. It was a lot of typing, a lot of pasting, and I did arrange the pages, put the articles on, type the articles up.
Right.
And then handed it on to the production team from there. It was quite a lot of work. I mean, so I'm sure it still is. But thank goodness it's been carried forward.
Yeah. And was it a paying thing in those days, or was it a free?
It was 10 pence copy.
Okay. Were there advertisers like there are?
Yes, exactly the same model. Yeah, nothing's really changed, apart from Tisbury, I suppose. Tisbury's changed, but in a good way, I think.
And I must ask you, what is your secret of looking so young?
Please.
You know, you founded this in 1976. You're now
83.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got tons of energy, and it's just showing through.
Oh, thank you. Well, there's no secret at all. It's just all in the genes, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And you've made it out today. Do you live in Tisbury?
Yes, we live at the bottom end of Tisbury, Court Street, and we're very lucky because the Fontal Brook comes down from the waterfall and runs through our garden, and all we can see from our back garden are the water meadows, the wildlife.
Lovely.
And we've got a large conservatory where I like to sit and read and paint. Well, I feel very proud and very happy that I'm still around to be able to share this occasion and to celebrate the 50 years of Focus. Going into a room full of people that only knew a few faces was a little bit daunting, but having met the new team and knowing what good hands Focus is now in, I think it's been a wonderful day and very emotional. And I'm just very, very grateful that they asked me to come.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you very, very much, Dawn. That's
Is that
lovely.
okay?
So 50 years.
Yes,
That's
yes,
very
and we've
impressive.
actually got a magazine, every magazine that's been produced in our archives.
Nice.
We were looking at the first magazine the other day, which was typed, on a typewriter, and there were loads of clubs even back then, and lists of all the people involved in all these different clubs with their telephone numbers on and what was going on. So it was a very active, possibly even more so. Tisbury is now. I mean, Focus really is produced by a management team of 4 of us.
Because you're all volunteers, aren't you?
Everybody is volunteers,
Yes.
but there are actually, I should think, 50 volunteers involved every month in getting Focus out.
Wow.
Because we have 30 distributors who distribute the magazines all over Tisbury and all over the local villages to subscribers. We have about 300 subscribers who pay for the year. Which is great because, we have the money in the bank. And then the other 200 odd magazines go out to the post office and the Coffee Angels and Pick Your Own for people to buy. So, there's a big team involved, and all the writers, of course. We have a lot of regular contributors to Focus. So, I should think it's at least 50 volunteers that bring that magazine together every month.
But the 4 key people are?
Oh, well, the 4 key people are Ros Russell, who is the publisher, Monica, who is the editor, Trish Lydiard, who does the advertising, Jean Watson, who is the treasurer, and me, and I do the distribution, so I actually get the magazine out.
And you ask people for their subscriptions if they're online subscribers, don't you?
Yes, I'm doing that now, which is
I've got to pay my subs.
You have. I've got you on my list, actually. I was going to ask you for your £10.
Yeah.
Subscribe to TisTalk wherever you get your podcasts.
Next we hear from Sean Moran, who I spoke to a few weeks ago about his forthcoming lecture about Lowry and how he's raising money by doing this lecture for the Arts Society Nadder Valley and their Young Arts Group.
This year, it's 50 years since L.S. Lowry died, and I thought that it'd be a really good year to do a lecture on Lowry. It's going to be on the 13th of May at 3 o'clock at the Nadder Centre. And they're putting on an afternoon tea as well. So the audience numbers are limited because of that. I think they've nearly sold out. So it's going well. And Lowry is a fascinating character. I've always wanted to do a lecture on Lowry because I've loved him all my life. I grew up amongst dark satanic mills in Rochdale, which is about 12 miles away from where Lowry lived and painted all of his decaying industrial scenes. My mum and grandma worked in the cotton mills that he painted, so it's very close to my heart. And he's a very popular artist with people, but not with critics or art galleries, who I think are a bit snobbish about L.S. Lowry. He's famously known for industrial scenes, so factories, smoking chimneys, and then in front of the factories and smoking chimneys, you've got rows of terraced houses, and then lots of little matchstick men and women and cats and dogs doing all kinds of things. His paintings are, within one painting, you might have 10 to 20 different individual paintings. And I think the reason he's very popular with people is because everybody has been in a Lowry painting. So if you worked in London and you had to cross London Bridge to get the train home, and you're crossing that bridge, it's a Lowry painting. If you're in the high street at Tisbury and you're seeing a church procession at Easter, you can look at his paintings of a procession in Stockport in the north of England. Hyde Park Corner, you can see his paintings of people holding debates in local towns in the north of England. So everybody's experienced in their own life, I think, a Lowry painting. And that's what he's famous for. But, and this is, my lecture will spend a lot of time on that, he also painted a lot more than the matchstick men and cats and dogs. I think he was a great portrait artist, and he really captured pain and grief, and I will be showing some of those portraits. He did landscapes. I'm not such a fan of his landscapes, but they are very, very different. A lot of them point to his own loneliness, I think. He was a very lonely character. Through choice, he liked his own company. He had lots and lots of friends, but he preferred his own company.
Will you give his dates?
Yeah, he was born in 1887. He didn't become famous really until the 1940s. He painted in the 20s, the early 30s, but didn't sell one painting. He didn't really become famous until he had a major exhibition in London just before the outbreak of the Second World War. Everything on hold then for the Second World War, and then really in the 1950s and 60s he became very famous, and his paintings started to sell for tens of thousands of pounds, which he thought was hilarious. Lord knows what he would think when, the latest, most expensive Lowry painting was sold for 7.8 million.
Really?
I think he possibly turned in his grave at that.
Yes.
There are also a set of controversial paintings that not many people know about. They're very rarely talked about because they are quite controversial. And if you are a fan of Lowry, they're quite difficult to look at. But I am going to share some of those images and talk about them in the lecture on the 13th of May.
Are you going to reveal what they are now, or are you going to let...
No. I think in order that we sell the last few seats, you need to come and find out what these controversial paintings are. Completely innocent, by the way. There's nothing perverse. They are quite shocking. So come along to the lecture and see the shocking Lowrys.
It's interesting.
I think the Art Society in Nadder Valley, they're paying for the tea and cake. So every pound of your admission goes straight into the Young Arts programme to get arts across to our local kids across the Nadder Valley. So it's a great thing to support.
Thank you very much, Sean.
And now, following on, we have Steve Tonkin, who is the astronomer of the Cranbourne Chase National Landscape. And he talks to Mary about what to look out for in the night sky in May.
Well, we've lost really the winter constellations that people have probably got used to, Orion and such like that we saw during Starfest when we had that here. And really dominating the sky now in the southwest really is a constellation of Leo, which is a constellation that actually looks a bit like what it's meant to represent, which is a lion. It looks a bit like a reclining lion or a sphinx or something like that. It's rather lovely, and there's a lot of stuff around that which you can see. So just to the left of Leo, so to the back of the lion, is a lovely little cluster of stars. Its official name is Coma Berenices, which means Berenice's hair. Coma is hair.
Right.
So comets comes from the same word. They were hairy stars. But in Babylonian mythology, if you know your Midsummer Night's Dream and the play within the play, that's Thisbe's veil that got dropped when the Pyramus and Thisbe love story, just when the lion, Leo, frightened her. I think it's an even lovelier one. In some North African mythology, it's a watering hole. And you've got the lion there, and the lion frightened a gazelle away. And above Leo, there are 3 pairs of stars stretching out over more than a spread hands width of sky, so just below the Big Dipper. And that's called the 3 leaps of the gazelle, as it was frightened away. So a few little pairs of stars.
Lovely.
Absolutely gorgeous. Best time for stargazing in May is, between about the 4th and the 22nd, when the moon's out the way. We've got 2 full moons in May, on the first day, and 31st, the last day. And these are what we call micro moons.
Oh, what's that?
Well, you've heard of supermoons. Possibly. Some people talk about supermoon. The moon appears bigger than other times. Although I would say it's only a supermoon if it's wearing blue. sporting a red cape and also got red knickers outside his trousers, then that's supermoon. but no, micromoons is the other side. The moon's orbit around the Earth is elliptical, so when it's closer it looks bigger, slightly. Most people can't tell the difference. I'm not sure I can. Yeah. And when it's further away, full moon, then it's slightly smaller, and these are micromoons. So we're going through a series of micromoons, and 6 months' time or so we'll be back to supermoons. So on the 16th we've got new moon. That means the moon is the same part of the sky as the sun, so we can't see it. But a couple of days after that, there's a really lovely crescent moon. It's going to be in the west-northwest, and it's going to be just to the right of Venus, which is, at the moment, the evening star, shining very, very brightly, very, very obvious in the west, and will result in a lot of reports of UFOs.
Oh, will it?
Oh, yes, always does.
Right.
Venus in the evening is UFO time.
And of course, Venus isn't really a star, it's a planet,
It's a planet, yes. It's Earth's evil twin, sometimes thought of. It's same size as Earth, but it's a pretty nasty place to be. Temperature at the surface is hot enough to melt lead, and it rains sulfuric acid.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, gorgeous. So that's the goddess of love, would you believe? Yeah.
And how can people identify Venus if they've never really ever looked for her?
It's that bright star in the west-northwest just after the sun goes down.
Okay.
It's
unmissable.
It is much brighter than anything else in the sky, apart from the sun. And actually, photographically, it's about 2 stops brighter than the moon. If you know exactly where to look, you can see Venus in the daytime in a clear sky. No problem. But you've got to know exactly where to look.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else in May to look out for?
Yeah, on the 20th, the moon and the planet Jupiter are going to be close together in the sky. It's called a conjunction. And again, we're going to be in the southwestern sky. And so if you're not sure if you've seen Jupiter, it's the one that's quite near the moon on the 20th.
Right.
And then from the 25th, well, we're at a time of the year where it doesn't get dark properly anymore. So we've got all-night twilight up until about the 18th of July, and then get proper astronomical dark again after that. So that's May. It's a great month. It's starting to get a little bit warmer at night, so you don't shiver all night when you're out looking for these things, but you do have to stay up late because it gets dark so late.
Great. Thank you very, very much. I'm back on the high street talking to Martin Thomas, who's kindly agreed to answer legal questions because he's a solicitor. And they are off-the-cuff questions that I haven't warned him about. So I'll just give you my next question. My friend's selling his house and has been offered the asking price, and he's accepted it. Now, a few hours later, someone else has offered him £60,000 more. Should he go for the extra £60,000, or should he honour his promise to the first offer?
Well, the first thing to say is that's not a legal question. That's a question about human morality, and everybody will have an opinion. But I could add a couple of things to put it in context. The first thing is that is obviously called gazumping.
Right.
The higher bidder is gazumping the lower one, or rather the seller is allowing him to gazump, him or her. In Scotland, you can't do it. But in England and Wales, you can do it. It's legal. That doesn't mean it's right. That's the first thing to say. The second thing to say is we can talk forever about whether the law does or does not reflect morality. There is morality, in my opinion, in the world. There is right and there is wrong. I like being a solicitor, so I like the idea that the law reflects public morality. Now, obviously, it's always a generation behind, because you don't want it to move quickly. So, things like, for example, most people, I think, would imagine that gay marriage was a good thing for quite a long time before it became a legal thing. And when it became a legal thing, that was reflecting what most people by then thought was right anyway.
Right.
And you want it to be that way round. You don't want the law to tell you what's right. You want the law to reflect what people think is right. But Gazumping is not illegal because not enough people think that it should be, so it isn't.
Okay.
And the final thing to say is what happens in real life with buying and selling houses is that it's done through estate agents, and estate agents to an extent police people's behaviour, and if an estate agent has told one person that their offer has been accepted, and then a higher offer gets accepted, the estate agent is left looking like a mug, and she might be cross with their client, that's the seller, for accepting the higher offer when they'd already accepted the first offer.
Yes.
So I'm not saying the estate agent is the priest, it's not the guy, it's not the arbiter of what's right and wrong. I'm saying that they'll have a role to play in figuring out the situation.
Okay. Right, thanks for that very succinct answer.
And now the What's On with Christabel Watts, followed by a short item about the clock tower on St John's Church. Go down there on May the 7th and you will see some steeplejacks hanging off the top of the church tower, replacing the hands of the clock.
Here's what's on in Tisbury and surrounding villages from Monday the 4th of May to Sunday the 10th of May 2026. On Monday the 4th, Anstey May Day returns from 1 till 5 p.m. with a May Day procession, maypole dancing, Morris dancing, music, food, a bar and lots more. On Tuesday the 5th, Tisbury Parish Council have their annual parish meeting at 7 p.m. in the reading room on the High Street. Everyone is welcome to observe the meeting. Also at 7 p.m, the Social Stitchers group meet in the Chilmark reading room. On Wednesday the 6th, the Tisbus outing will depart for Iford Manor Estate and Gardens at 9:30 a.m, returning at 2:30 p.m. Call coordinator Dave Milas on 07 500 802 525 to book your seat. A community cafe birthday lunch will run from 11:30 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. at the Methodist Church, celebrating 125 years of the church. There will also be an exhibition of the history of the church on display. The monthly social meetup for people who work from home or work alone will be at the Lamb in Hindon from 6 till 7:30 p.m. Chickpea Chats, in collaboration with Fox and King Bookshop, present a conversation with Max Halley, author of Cooking with Sausages, from 7 till 8:30 p.m. at the Pembroke Arms in Wilton. For more details and to book your free ticket, visit their website www.chickpea.group. On Thursday the 7th, Tisbury Memory Group have their birthday outing to the Hawke Conservancy in Andover from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. A Tisbury Footpath Club evening walk will begin at Nadder Close Car Park at 6:30 p.m. This will be a 3.5-mile circular walk heading out through the water meadows. Contact Paul Naish to book your place on 07 587 072 900. West Tisbury Parish Council's annual parish meeting will take place at 7 p.m. in the Hinton Hall small room. Again, these meetings are open to the public and you can contact the clerk if you wish to speak. Tisbury Arts Group will perform 2 one-act plays by local playwright Vivien Alderker, The Mighty Mysterious Murder at Melbury Manor and The Interview, at the Victoria Hall at 7:30 p.m. Tickets £10 for adults and £5 for children. This performance is also on Friday the 8th. For details and booking, go to their website tisburyartsgroup.co.uk. Then, on Friday the 8th, the Badminton Club meet at the Nadder Centre from 7 till 9 p.m. This is a friendly club for those who already play, unfortunately not for beginners. First session free. On Saturday the 9th, The Gardening Club Plant and Garden Jumble Sale runs from 10 till 11 a.m. in Hinton Hall car park. This is an excellent opportunity to buy reasonably priced vegetable and flower plants. A community cafe special afternoon tea will be held from 3 till 5 p.m. at the Methodist Church as part of their 125 years celebration. At 7 p.m, an RBO and Met recording of Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin will be shown in Victoria Hall. Visit their website to book your tickets, newvictisbury.com. On Sunday the 10th, Tisbury tourers will join Shaftesbury North Dorset cycle ride. It starts at 8:30 a.m. and has a 20-mile ride, a 50-mile ride and a family ride. Contact Rob on 07771 620 199 to join the WhatsApp group. The Magic Lantern Film Club will show the film Evil Does Not Exist at 7 p.m. at Victoria Hall, in Japanese with English subtitles. Again, visit the Hall's website to book. And that's all for the What's On listings. Have a great week.
Thanks, Christabel. And now, additionally, here's you, Anne, again, speaking to Anthony Lovelwood and explaining about this exciting thing that's going to happen up the church tower on May the 7th.
The clock hands, which have been re-gilded, will be put back onto the clock mechanism. The finishing of the restoration work and reinstallation is put back inside the tower, and this is all happening on May the 7th. And Wallbridges from Salisbury, who are steeplejacks, will be coming to put the hands back and also repaint the painted parts of the clock faces. They will do it all sitting in a bosun's chair, in other words, hanging from the parapet at the top of the tower, and they will move round the three faces of the tower during the course of the day doing it.
God, that's great. So that's something to watch out for and to come and see. It's quite an event. Thank you very much.
And do we know when the steeplejacks are going to appear on May the 7th?
Well, when I interviewed Anthony Lovelwood earlier on today, he said that it will be going on for most of the day because I think it's quite a tricky operation.
Ah, okay. And we play out today with a lovely little scene at the Methodist Church that Anne Martin recorded. It's Vivien and Finn at the Family Friday party, which is a special one for the 125th anniversary of Tisbury Methodist Church. And Anne, you said there was an enormous cake?
Absolutely huge cake, yes.
Okay. And the children were enjoying it?
They were, and they were taking part in all sorts of art and painting, and there were groups of children inside the church sort of doing handstands and running around and playing together, which was rather nice to see that it was so free and they could do exactly what they wanted in the church.
Wow.
We're here at the Methodist Church to talk about the 125 years of the church. We're having a dinner later on, and we're decorating bunting and doing a bit of painting. I like it because it's sort of quite free and you don't have to, it's not a specific thing that you really have to do. You can draw anything really.
I've just taken a picture of an enormous cake that says Tisbury Methodist Church 125 years with a young student in front of me. So can you tell me your name, please?
I'm Finn William Kelly.
And where do you go to school?
At St John's Primary.
Good. Are you going to enjoy eating this cake?
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for co-presenting today, Anne.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure.
So, see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.